There's a fire inside some founders that not even success can put out. It's not about money or fame or even the product. It's about control. Sometimes the hardest choice a founder makes isn't to build up, but to burn it all down themselves. This isn't about quitting. It's about reclaiming something deeper, something more real. Imagine standing on the edge, staring at everything you poured your soul into, knowing that letting go, on your own terms, is the only way to break free from chains nobody else sees. Most people don't get this. They think founders quit because they screwed up or gave up hope. But the truth, it's more like a rebellion. A refusal to bend to the pressure, the noise, the system that wants to tame the wild ideas and squeeze them into neat little boxes. The brutal truth is that the world we live in demands conformity, and when you refuse, your startup becomes a battlefield where the war isn't just against competitors or market forces, but against the slow death of your own freedom. You feel it, right? The heaviness of invisible rules, the creeping doubt that despite all the late nights, the pitches, the endless grind, something vital is slipping away, your soul as a creator. Maybe you see the founders around you burning themselves out trying to fit the mold, the endless fundraising rounds, the fake smiles for investors, the exhausting cult of growth at all costs. And you wonder, is this really what it means to build something that matters? Here's the brutal edge of that question. Some founders choose to destroy their startups themselves because the structure they've built keeps them trapped, not free. They choose to tear down what they made because holding on to it means becoming a prisoner. It's not chaos. It's an act of ultimate agency. Because sometimes the only way to create what's real, what's truly yours, is to first burn the old world down. If that sounds crazy or extreme, it's because the system teaches us to fear failure so much that the real courage gets hidden beneath layers of safe decisions and compromises. But true courage isn't about never failing. It's about knowing when to fight and when to walk away. Not just walking away, but setting fire to the old story so a new one can rise from the ashes. It's about liberation. Some founders know this deep down. When the startup they built becomes less about their vision and more about the rules imposed on them, economic pressures, investor expectations, toxic cultures, they realize the startup no longer belongs to them. In that moment, burning it down is reclaiming ownership of their own life. Not everyone has the guts to take that flame to their own creation, but the ones who do are the ones who refuse to lose themselves. But what happens after the fire? This is the secret most miss. Destruction isn't the end. It's a reset. It's a blank canvas screaming with possibility. The founders who burn their companies on their own terms are not giving up. They are choosing to become something new, unhindered by the past. They become free agents of change, not tied down by faulty systems or external approval. They learn that progress doesn't come from safe bets or traditional paths, but from the radical act of unlearning, of rejecting the rules designed to keep them small. The pain is real, though. Losing what you built is like losing a piece of yourself. There's grief, doubt, sometimes even shame. But that pain holds power if you let it. A fuel to forge a path that aligns with your true purpose. The world will try to fill that void with quick fixes, chasing a new startup, scrambling for another round of funding, or worse, burying yourself in endless hustle disguised as progress. But none of that breaks the cycle. True freedom comes when you stop running and start dismantling the illusions one by one. Here's what the world doesn't tell founders. You don't have to play their game. You can burn down the rulebook, the expectations, the hollow metrics. You don't have to sacrifice your well-being or your vision to fit in. Real power lies in sovereignty, a relentless, unapologetic ownership of your will and your path. When you embrace this, you stop being a product of the system and start becoming its disruption. So what does this look like if you want to hold that fire without getting burned? First, be ruthless with what you carry. Strip away every should that clutters your mind. What beliefs about startups, success, leadership are fake? Which ones come from others, not from your own heart? The moment you question every assumption is the moment you start reclaiming your power. Second, find your tribe, the rare few who burn like you do. Connection isn't about quantity, it's about chemistry, trust, and mutual rebellion. The few who dare to be different, who refuse to settle for the status quo. Surrounding yourself with these people creates a space where your ideas aren't just heard, they're amplified. Together, you become more than isolated sparks. You're a wildfire capable of change beyond the limits of any system. Third, practice patience like it's a superpower. The world wants you to believe in instant growth, overnight success, and rapid scaling. But real transformation, whether in life or business, is the long game. Eternity favors those who keep their flame alive through storms, setbacks, and silence. The founders who choose to burn their startups down often do so not out of desperation, but out of vision, knowing that to build anything lasting, you must first clear the ruins of what no longer serves. Fourth, embrace being an outlier. Systems favor mediocrity because mediocrity is predictable and controllable. But founders who burn their startups often stand outside these systems. They own their oddness, their refusal to play by existing rules. That's terrifying, but it's also the birthplace of everything new. In that space of radical difference, innovation becomes not just possible, but inevitable. And finally, never forget why you started. Beneath it all, beneath the pressure, the expectations, the fear, you had a vision, a spark. Remember that spark. Let it lead you back to what makes your fire real, not what's easy or expected. Some founders burn their startups not to lose their dream, but to save it from being twisted into something it never was. This fire, this destruction, isn't the end. It's the beginning of a new kind of freedom, one where you aren't a cog in a broken machine, but a sovereign creator shaping your reality. It's about taking unbearable tension and transforming it into power, about stepping off the exhausting treadmill and walking your own path, no matter how dark and uncertain it looks. Most people will never understand this choice. They'll call it madness, failure, or giving up. But those who listen closely hear something different, a call to rebel, to rise, to burn away lies and reveal truth. If you feel it too, that restless fire inside, that refusal to settle, know this: burning down your startup might be the bravest move you ever make, because from those ashes, something freer, brighter, and more you can truly grow.